What's going on, everyone? Today we're going to be testing out the Vitalin U7. If you guys follow me and watch my other videos, you know that I already reviewed the Vitalin i7, not the i7 Pro. Well, this is the U7, the step-through version of that bike. First thing we're going to do is take it up this hill real quick, see how it does. Then we're going to stop, go over all the specs and features, and then go for another longer ride and just see how it performs going up hills and things like that. Hopefully by the end of this video, you guys will know if this bike's right for you, and if it is, I'll put affiliate links down below in the description along with any coupon codes I can get where you guys can pick one of these up for yourselves if you're interested. That's about it, guys. Let's get into it. If you use that link, I'll make a small commission, and I'll also link down below all my accessories, my bags, cell phone holder, chain, locks, alarms, things like that. So if that's something that you're interested in, that'll be down below too. Let's get into it, guys. All right, here we go, guys. Pedal assist 5, throttle only up this hill. We're gonna see what kind of speed we can maintain. Now this is a 750 watt bike with a 16 amp hour battery and a 25 amp controller. 12 miles an hour, 11, 10, 9. So 9 miles an hour. This is actually the second run. The first run I did never dropped below 9. That one dropped to 8 real quick. But some of my slower bikes only get about 5 miles an hour up that hill, and my fastest bike was 11 miles an hour. So 9 miles an hour up that hill with throttle only, guys, is pretty good. All right, guys, so we're gonna stop up here and go over all the specs and features of this bike, and then we'll see what this bike got. A little bit of off-road here through the grass, pretty smooth. Now this does have front suspension and also a suspension seat post. However, the suspension seat post doesn't seem like it's the greatest. It's actually starting to work a little bit better now. When I first sat on it, it didn't go down at all. I adjusted the angle on the seat and it feels a little bit better now, but not quite sure if it's because of the angle on the seat post tube and just the cheaper suspension post that just goes up and down. That could possibly be why, but it'll probably actually get a little softer than this a little bit over time. If not, you can always upgrade that post. There's a few different good seat posts that I recommend that I'll put down below in the description if you're interested in getting a better one than this, but I would try this one first because it's probably gonna be fine for most people. All right, so I just looked back at my notes, and the Vitalin i7, like I said, not the Pro, just the original i7, went up that hill and never dropped below 10 miles per hour. The U7 never dropped below 9, so it was 1 mile per hour slower than the i7. I was a little surprised by that, being that the i7 that I have has a 22 amp controller and this bike has a 25, but it does seem like it has tons of power, and we're going to hit a very steep hill in a few minutes after we go over all the specs and features of this, so we'll test that out for sure. So with a 16.5-inch step over height, this bike is really easily accessible here, and it does fold here in the center, which makes it really easy and nice for transport. Up here on the handlebars, you have a horn button. Above that, you have a turn signal button, which activates turn signals that are in the rear tail light. It has a nice running light, and then when you pull the brake lever, there is brake lights that light up as well. So really nice for safety and really well done on the rear tail light with the turn signals and the brake light. And while we're going over the lighting on the front, you have a pretty nice light in the front. It's a dual beam light, pretty cool light. I've actually had this on some of the other bikes I've tested. Next to that, you have your control pad here. Really nice and intuitive. This is actually the same control pad and same display that's on the KK bike that I tested and reviewed. So really nice, very colorful. Don't know if you guys can see it here. I'll try to show you a picture of this at nighttime so you can see what it looks like. Over here on the right-hand side, you have a half grip twist throttle. You have a 7-speed Shimano shifter, which leads down to the 14 to 28 freewheel in the rear. That would have been nice to see an 11 to 28 or an 11 to 34 tooth gear back there. Everybody ends up using these ones for some reason, and usually you run out of pedal, but we'll test that out. It has a Shimano tourney derailleur coming up the chain to a 48 tooth chain ring in the front, and a set of folding aluminum pedals. For power, like I said earlier, this bike is using a 16 amp hour 48 volt battery and a 25 amp controller to power the 750 watt rear hub motor. Now this does not have the Bafang motor like the Vitalin i7 Pro model does. It's probably the same motor that was in the original Vitalin i7. No way for me to confirm that, just speculation based off the looks of it. The rear rack on this bike is really nice and heavy duty looking, holds up to 55 pounds according to the manual. Fits my Rock Bros bag really nice, which I'll put a link down below. Comes with the suspension seat post that we already talked about. Now the seat on this bike is pretty soft. It almost feels like a gel seat. No complaints on that so far. I'll let you guys know later in the ride how I feel about it. Includes a water bottle holder here, which is nice. And I was really surprised how narrow this frame is right here. Really strong and heavy duty it feels like, but very thin there, which is pretty nice for transport. And it does have a pretty nice heavy duty kickstand on there. Another thing I love is the Disland hydraulic disc brakes that this bike comes with. All the bikes that I've had that have these brakes, never had a problem with them. And it's using a pair of, I believe, 180 millimeter rotors in both the front and the rear. And these rotors are super thick, twice as thick at least than a normal bicycle rotor. This bike is sitting on a pair of CST BFT 20 by 4 inch fat tires and a nice pair of mag rims, so you don't have to worry about adjusting spokes over time. And the bike does come in weighing 69 pounds with the battery. If you take the battery out, it's going to put it right at 60 pounds. So going to be nice for a lot of bike racks, because a lot of fat tire bike racks are rated for about 60 pounds per bike. So the battery is about 9 pounds in this bike. And then if you take the seat and seat post out, you can get it down probably below 60 pounds. The wiring on the front of the bike seems to be wrapped pretty well, not too bad. And the front stem is adjustable. For suspension, this bike's using a spring fork with a lockout on the right hand side. There is no clicks for adjustment there, and it has a preload knob on the left hand side. Also on the front of the bike, there's a mounting bracket that you can mount the rack. Now I got a front rack that came with the bike, not sure if that comes with them all the time or if it's just a promotion they're running. And then you could buy an additional front and rear basket, which I do have. Now those are steel baskets, and one thing that's pretty nice about them is they are actually compatible with the electric bikes. The bolt pattern in them will bolt right up to the electric racks, and the electric rack will bolt right up to this, or this rack will bolt to the electric. So if you guys have an electric bike and you have racks or baskets, they will bolt up to this Vitalin U7 bike. Now that front rack does come in at weighing 2.6 pounds, so we'll add 2.6 pounds additional weight to this bike, and you do have to have that front rack on to put the front basket on. I thought that you'd be able to bolt just the basket on and use that, but you can't. You have to have the rack on, then the basket, which adds a little bit extra weight because they are steel. And the rear rack is steel as well. Would have been nice to see them make those out of aluminum. Another feature that's really nice to see is it does have a USB charging port here on the bottom of the display to keep your cell phones, GoPros, or whatnot charged while you're riding. But overall, very nice looking bike. It kind of reminds me of the Haybike Ranger that I reviewed, but in my opinion, this is a lot nicer bike with way more power, faster, a bigger battery for, I believe, currently around the same price as the Ranger. Like I said, guys, check out the link below to see the current pricing or any coupons, but let's get into the riding. So like I said before, these brakes are very nice. Whew, can skid the back easily. I love those thick rotors with these Disland brakes. I've liked them on every bike I've tested. No problems at all. Squeaks or squills are inexistent. I don't hear them squeaking at all, and I can lock that back brake up no problem here. But this is a pretty steep hill here, pretty grassy steep hill. Let's go ahead and see if we can make it back up this hill. Let's get in gear 1. And I'm gonna do it one-handed and see how we can do going up this hill. I'm not putting any effort into it yet. Let's go up this center. This center looks very steep. And this is one-handed. And not sure if you can see this, but it's about a 15-degree hill. I'm hardly putting any effort in at all. Walking right up this, no problem. Wow, guys, it has good power. No complaints with the power at all whatsoever. Let's just do some throttle around here. Woo! Tree took out the GoPro. Ah! Jagger bush. Ooh, that one got me pretty good. Ouch, that hurt. The life of an e-biker. So let's go down and test out some of the pedal assist levels and see how fast it is. Whew. Just some throttle only here on some grassy area. Some bumps. Suspension's pretty good. It does have cruise control that engages automatically. Once you hold the throttle for so many seconds, it will engage cruise, and we'll see how exactly that works here, whether it disengages when you start pedaling or definitely disengages when you pull the brake lever. Good power there though, throttle only. Alright, so this display is not super bright during the day, and then when you turn your headlight on, it is really hard to see, especially with sunglasses on. I forgot to unpause my trip, so I'm going to go ahead and reset the odometer so we can see how close they are. I think it's pretty close now as far as the odometer and speedometer go. When I first started riding, the tire size was set to 24. I did lower it down to 22, and I think it matches a little bit better now. But to reset your trip meter, you hold down the negative button and the I button for a few seconds, and it will reset the trip meter. Very nice that it keeps track of your trip when you shut the bike off, turn it back on, and that you can clear it by yourself. I hate when bikes reset the trip whenever you shut it down and turn it back on. That's a really nice feature to have. And in this menu, you can go in and adjust each and every individual pedal assist level to whatever you want. Right now I have it set to 5 different levels, and it's set to 20%, 40, 60, 80, 100. You can go in and change that to whatever you want, which is nice to match other riders. And you can make it 3 levels, 5, 7, or 9. So really good adjustability there. Perfect in my opinion. I love when you can adjust things in the display like that. And the first thing I want to mention right off the bat about the throttle is that it is limited to your pedal assist level. So you can see here I'm full throttle, I'm in pedal assist 1. I'm only going to get the output of 20% with throttle because that's what pedal assist 1 is set to. So to have full throttle, you have to be in pedal assist 5. And let's go ahead and try this cruise control and see exactly how it works. So I'm going to go ahead and hold steady here. Whenever cruise control comes on, there will be a little thing on the display there that flashes like a cruise control signal. And I'm going to start pedaling. And very nice, when you start pedaling, even if you're in pedal assist 5, it still maintains your speed. It doesn't take off the speed of pedal assist 5. Then you can always hit your throttle and just disable that cruise and go. Very nice when it's set up that way. Some cruise controls, when you set the cruise and you're in, say, pedal assist 5 and you start pedaling, it starts to go the speed of what pedal assist 5 is set at, and then when you let off, it resumes your cruise speed. But I would prefer to just have it to where you could set it to whatever you want, pedal, and maintain that speed. Very nice. So to disable the cruise, all you have to do is hit the throttle or pull a brake lever and it will disable the cruise control. Let's go ahead and set it here again. Seems fairly long before it sets, maybe 8 to 10 seconds. It's actually, there it goes. So gonna start pedaling, and that's very nice because now I can put some effort into it but still maintain the speed that I have it set to. I'm gonna go ahead and pull a brake lever and it disengages. So let's go ahead down on a straight stretch and see how fast this bike is. I'm not gonna do individual tests of each pedal assist level because like I said, you can go in and change that. 1 is very slow though. I have it set to 20%, and I'll just show you that one real quick, what 1 is set at, because it is very slow, which is really nice. I hate when bikes are like a minimum of like 11 miles per hour on pedal assist 1, because if you're trying to ride slow with kids or whatever, you're not going to want to go that fast. So right now I'm at about 5 to 6 miles an hour in pedal assist 1. Very, very minimal power, and like I said, I have it set to 20%. 2 set to 40%. Nice gradual pickup there on the speed, and it's at about 10 miles per hour on display and GPS. Nice and accurate, very smooth. But you can see when I hit the throttle, I don't get anything extra. You have to be in pedal assist 5 to have full throttle. It's the only thing I wish they would have made different on this bike and gave you full throttle throughout each pedal assist level like the electrics and some other bikes do. But not that big of a deal, being that cruise control works the way it does, because you can set cruise to whatever you want, and then if you need that throttle, it'll be there. 20, 30 miles an hour, and I can lock them up easily if I wanted to. Listen to them brakes. So quiet, very nice. I think a lot of that has to do with the wide rotors. You have less chance of them warping because they're so wide. So very nice. All right, let's see what kind of speed we can get out of this bike. Let's try throttle only first. This is a fairly level stretch here, and it is pretty windy today. Pull wind's actually hitting me in the face right now, so that might make us go a little slower than normal. Cruise control actually set, so I'm going to go ahead, release, and hit it again. It's looking like 25, 26. With just throttle only, about 25 to 26 miles an hour going this way. So a little slower than what I thought it would have been. But like I said, it is windy and that wind is hitting me. Let's go back the other way and see if we can get any higher speed going the other way. Motor doesn't sound too noisy, sounds fairly quiet. 25, 26. So right around the same, 25 to 26 miles an hour max speed with throttle. Let's try just pedaling. And I do feel like this should have definitely had an 11-tooth freewheel on it. 26. I would say it's about the same, 25, maybe 26 miles an hour. All right, guys, here we go. I'm going to show you pedaling at top speed. This is 20 miles an hour, and that's about where you run out of pedal. I only feel comfortable pedaling up to about right here, about this speed. Anything over that, it's going to feel like you're running out of pedal. So let's bump it up into 5 and show you max speed. 23, 24, 25, 26. And this is max speed at 26 miles an hour. And that's why it would have been nice to have an 11-tooth freewheel on this bike, because my legs are moving pretty quick. 25 miles an hour. So I would have preferred it being like this at 25 miles per hour, not this. So definitely need an upgraded freewheel on this bike to make it a lot nicer ride while you're traveling at higher speeds. All right, guys, so that's going to be about it. I think we covered most things, how this thing does on hills, how this thing does on level ground. And look at this, I'm going up this hill, no problem, throttle only. This thing does have some pretty good power. Not gonna lie, it's really good as far as power goes. I mean, I don't have to pedal at all coming up this hill. I'm not sure if you guys can see the steepness. Not super steep, but coming up it, no problem. Motor's not really making any whining noises or anything. Pretty easily. So it would have been nice to see a few more miles per hour out of it, but maybe they made this motor more for torque than for speed, more power than speed. Power-wise, though, this bike goes good. And one thing you want to keep in mind, on a bike that has more power versus speed, you're going to notice it when you hit hills. So even though this didn't get up to 28 miles an hour, it has the power to maintain a higher speed when you hit hills versus a bike that will hit 28 miles per hour but have less power, because when you hit a hill, then you're going to be going pretty slow. So a little bit of a trade-off there. Pretty nice bike though, guys, in my opinion. Definitely more value for the money than the Haybike Ranger, in my opinion. Definitely a lot more powerful. It's somewhat similar to the speed of the Ranger, I believe. Maybe a mile an hour or two faster. It's super windy out here still. Hopefully you guys can hear me good. But if you guys are interested in this bike, like I said, I'll put links down below as well as links to all my accessories. And I hope you guys enjoyed this, found it helpful, learned something. And if you did, please make sure you consider subscribing, and I will see you guys around on the next one. Thanks for watching, everyone.